Here are the facts. Don Lemon, former CNN anchor turned independent journalist, was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles over his coverage of an anti-ICE protest that disrupted a church service in St. Paul, Minnesota on January 18. The protesters were targeting a church where the pastor also works as an ICE field director. They marched the aisles, chanted, and directly challenged a government official inside a house of worship. For that, Lemon now faces federal civil rights charges built around a law meant to protect people attending religious services, with prosecutors claiming he physically obstructed congregants, and that his own footage shows the intent was to disrupt operations. A magistrate judge had already looked at an earlier attempt to charge him and thrown it out for lack of evidence, approving charges only against some protesters, not Lemon. The Trump Justice Department, furious at that setback, kept looking for a way to drag him back in. And when they finally did, Attorney General Pam Bondi proudly announced the arrests were carried out at my direction. That's not an independent justice system. That's a political chain of command, from a president raging about a critic to an attorney general making a public show of obedience. Then there's the White House, which didn't respond like a sober guardian of the rule of law, but like a snark account on X. From the official presidential account, they blasted out a black and white image of Don Lemon with the caption, "When life gives you lemons," plus a chains emoji, celebrating that a black journalist was in federal custody. No charges listed, no evidence cited, just a punchline about a man in handcuffs and a wink at America's ugliest racial history. That same propaganda machine rebranded the event as the St. Paul Church Riots in its messaging, inflating a disruptive protest into a riot to justify the crackdown. Zoom out, and this isn't an isolated grudge. It's the latest chapter in a long Trump playbook. Don Lemon has been a vocal critic of Trump's racism, lies, and abuses of power for years, which made him a favorite target of presidential insults, legal threats, and MAGA outrage long before a single hymn was interrupted in Minnesota. Now, when he shows up to chronicle a protest against ICE in a church linked to that machinery, the government responds not by debating his coverage, but by trying to turn his journalism into a crime scene. Legal experts openly describe this as a politically motivated prosecution with a weak case, designed less to win in court than to put Don Lemon through the grinder and send a message to the rest of the press. That's the democratic danger, when a president can't tolerate scrutiny and his response is to weaponize the law against the people pointing the camera. Arresting journalists over what they film at protests, mocking them from the official White House account, and ignoring judicial pushback so you can try again with fresh charges. That's not how a confident democracy behaves. That's how power behaves when it wants to make everyone else afraid to look. You don't have to like Don Lemon's tone, style, or politics to see the line that's being crossed. If covering a protest at a politically sensitive church can turn a reporter into a federal defendant whenever it embarrasses the president, then every journalist in America has to wonder what story might put them next in the meme with the chains. And once the government starts deciding which cameras are allowed to roll, the public stops seeing the whole truth. And that's when democracy really is in danger.